Okay, let's talk lab testing for kiddos with ADHD. Now, I first want to say that your child's body will continue to act a certain way regardless of how many medicines or supplements you use if you don't have a solid foundation of nutrition first. Now, if the body is still being pounded with this inflammatory food, no matter what supplements you give, you are not going to get the desired results. You will end up wasting your money on lab testing and supplements. And honestly, I never want anyone to waste their money unnecessarily. I know that I could put both of my boys through college with the amount of money I spent on finding solutions before I knew what I do now. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dana Kay, and I am so passionate about helping families reduce their kids' ADHD symptoms with food and natural solutions. I'm also a board certified holistic health and nutrition practitioner, but most importantly, I am a mum to a gorgeous boy with ADHD who is thriving without medication, and I have years of experience helping other families do exactly the same. So on that note, let's dive in. Just as there are causes of the symptoms of a cough, like the flu or bronchitis or tuberculosis, there are causes of chronic disorders or illnesses. These symptoms are just like warning signs from the body that something else is wrong. The only way to address it is to get the body examined further, specifically with functional lab testing. The goal is to identify and remove these underlying malfunctions and blocking factors that are found in the tests and return the body to normal function. When normal function is restored, health is abundant and symptoms actually disappear on their own. So how I work is that instead of just treating symptoms or putting a band-aid over them, I employ functional lab testing to identify healing opportunities in the entire body. I take a deep dive into the hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, and intestinal barrier systems. There are 4 foundation functional lab tests that I recommend and use with my clients. I do have access to hundreds of other tests, but these 4 give you a great starting point to look at the entire body rather than casting that net too wide. And today, I'm going to give you an explanation of each of those 4 tests. So the first test is called the Biometrix gut stool test. It's really going to give us a clear picture of what the state of the gut is. It looks for things like parasites and bacteria, yeast overgrowth. There are also intestinal health markers that look at inflammation, digestion, and metabolic functions of the gut. But I want to give you a really brief overview of a couple of things relating to the gut and how it's so connected to how our kids function, especially those with ADHD. And I want to talk about that gut-brain connection. Now, there's a very close connection between the gut and the brain, and one of the first signs of disconnect in the brain is a gut that's not functioning well. The brain has many areas that are involved in gut function, but one of the main areas is the frontal lobe, and it talks to the gut via nerve branches and two-way chemical messengers. The frontal lobe is involved in things like attention, focus, executive function, planning, organizing, problem solving, all of which are common symptoms that most of our ADHD kids are struggling with. But also, and for me this is the real kicker, the gut is responsible for making 95% of our serotonin and 50% of our dopamine, which are our happy, feel-good neurotransmitters or hormones that help regulate our emotions. They maintain our mood balance and our cognitive function. Again, these are areas that most kids with ADHD have problems with. So this is a stool test. We send the kit to your house, you take the sample, and you send it back to the lab. Now, the next test I always encourage clients to include is a food sensitivity test. In my experience, the best version currently available on the market is called the Vibrant Wellness Zoomer tests, and that's ZOOMER because my accent doesn't say it the right way. It looks at an individual's sensitivities to different foods. So to explain this further, I just want to link gut function first to this test. Now, normally when we eat food, our gut breaks down that food into micronutrient-sized particles, and those particles go through the lining of the gut into our cells to give us the nutrients we need so we can function optimally. However, a lot of our kids have something called leaky gut. And I've done another video on that on my channel, so if you are interested, take a look. But leaky gut is basically a breakdown of the lining of the gut, and it forms these large holes in the lining. Now, when we eat food, even the healthiest food, before the gut has had a chance to break it down, it can go through the holes in the gut and into our bloodstream. And when something foreign goes into our bloodstream, our body recognizes it as a foreign object and it turns on an immune response and attacks it. But if that large molecule is in fact a large food macronutrient or protein, then your immune system might start sending signals to create an immune response and start creating antibodies against it and start attacking it. Now, the body has a great memory, so anytime you eat that food again, your immune system sees it as dangerous, it attacks it, it causes more inflammation and continues to further break down the lining of the gut. And all of this results in food intolerances. Something starts leaky gut, like parasites or antibiotics, then the leaky gut causes these food intolerances, and the food intolerances continue to cause leaky gut. So in order to heal the gut, you must remove these foods or they will continue to break down the lining of the gut and you won't be successful. So this test looks for those inflammatory reactions in the body to certain food. The important thing to remember though is food sensitivities are not true allergies, but they do cause inflammation in the body. So you can actually heal from the sensitivities. Once you heal that gut, you can start to add back those foods. Now, the test that we use is very different to one you can get online or at a doctor. Most normal food sensitivity panels only test at the top protein level. Since a lot of foods have similar protein structures, common sensitivity panels tend to have a lot of false positives and false negatives, and that doesn't help. So these food zoomers test each food down to the peptide level of the food for the most accurate results. It's a simple finger prick test done at home. We send the kit there, you take the sample, you send it back. Now, the third test we use is called the organic acid test, or OATS for short. And it's an awesome test because it looks at over 65 important markers in the whole body and how it is functioning. It can show the needs for specific nutrients such as B vitamins, which are super important for our compromised kids, diet modification, detoxification, mitochondrial function, ketones, oxidative stress, yeast, and mold toxicity, plus other important markers as well. It's a really good bang for your buck test. It's a urine test. We send the kit to your house, you take the sample, and you send it back to the lab. Now, the final test is the Cryptopiral Test through DHA Labs. Pyrols are a normal chemical byproduct in the body, and they attach to vitamin B6 and zinc and draw these elements out of the body when they're excreted through the urine. When a person's body is in a state of dysfunction, it may cause their body to produce elevated levels of cryptopyrrole, and if this occurs, it can result in a dramatic deficiency of zinc and B6. This is also known as pyroluria, and it's frequently identified in behavioral disorders, ADHD, depression, aggression, and violent behaviors, and includes symptoms of things like poor tolerance to physical or emotional stress, poor anger control, mood swings, poor short-term memory, and sensitivity to light and sound, to name a few. This is a urine test. We send the kit to your house, you take the sample, and you send it back to the lab. So to summarize, the 4 base tests that we use with families are the Biometrix gut stool test, the Vibrant Wellness food zoomer tests, Vibrant Wellness organic acid test, and finally the DHA Labs Cryptopiral test. Now, it's important to know, though, that these tests are normally not run by your general doctor and unfortunately are not covered by insurance. This really, really upsets me because I know so many other families that could be helped if they were. So, if you feel that your child may benefit from having these tests done, or you need help on reducing symptoms through food, what I've done is I've set aside some time for me and my team to speak with you personally about developing a personalized plan of attack for your child so that you can reduce their ADHD symptoms naturally and get back some of that calm and peace into your house. Directly under this video, you'll see a button or a link, and you can use that to schedule your free call with us now. So the takeaway from this video is that you need to give your child's body what it needs to heal from the inside out, and you too can reduce their symptoms naturally. Hope this video was helpful, and as usual, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.